Flying is a funny old type. It is very common and the power ranges from incredible to, well, slightly underwhelming. And the possible encounters on this run reflect that perfectly. So, let's just get straight into it. Can I beat Omega Ruby using only flying type Pokemon? As I mentioned, flying is an abundant type, especially in the early game, so we have 3 Pokemon before we face Roxanne, but unfortunately Beautiful Eye's time on our team was short and sweet. After it takes out Geodude and paralyses her Nosepass, a noble sacrifice is made so we can safely bring in Wingull for the KO and the first gym badge. It is sad to see a Pokemon go, especially this early, but we have some more appealing potential bug flying encounters. And after helping an old man and getting a lift with him, for the record, I do not recommend that. We head south, and before we take on the second gym, we pick up a Zubat in Granite Cave, a good solid encounter. Unfortunately for us, Brawly is a simple guy who likes to punch things, and in this intricate game of rock, paper, scissors, flying beats fighting, so Tailo can simply wing attack both of his Pokemon for the win. We then head back to Granite Cave to get the Steel Wing TM, which may prove very useful for our birds, and then we head onwards towards Slateport, where after defeating some Magma Grunts we meet the leader of the evil team for the first time, and man does he look like a funny little guy. Look at the way he walks, you can just tell he was bullied in school. Earlier on in the run I picked up a Nincada which evolved into a Ninjask whilst training for the May fight, and this Pokemon is the key to everything. But it is time for the dreaded battle under the bridge, and she leads with a Shroomish and Zubat can take it out, but unfortunately it does get paralysed, which is very annoying. Slugma comes out and I switch into Wingull. Thankfully Rock Throw does little so we can take it down with a couple of Water Pulses, and her Marsh Stomp is out, and I thought this would be tough without a grass type, but the only move that can damage our flying type is Bide, so being the master strategist I am, I switch into Ninjask and just spam double team, and then for some reason I switch into Tailo, probably because I was bored, and after some more stat moves we take it down with a few wing attacks. I'm glad we managed this stress free, and it's not often I make things easier for myself, but I am getting better. And then next is the electric gym leader Watson, and this battle looks impossible with our team, but this is where I do gain respect for Ninjask. First turn we set up a double team as they paralyse with a Thunder Wave, but a held Cherry Berry cures us. We then set up another and avoid the next Thunder Wave. I decide 2 is enough and I don't get greedy, and a Mud Slap does big damage for over half, and after avoiding another paralysis we can take it down. Voltorb is out next and I go for a Mud Slap as they miss a rollout, and a Fury Cutter does way more damage the next turn as they connect with a crit rollout. But thankfully they don't heal and we can just take it out the next turn. This brings out his Ace Magneton, and a Mud Slap does little but lowers their accuracy as they miss a Volt Switch. From here Ninjask takes it down with many Mud Slaps despite them healing to full. Accuracy strats are dumb, but Ninjask, early call, Ninjask may be the GOAT. Following on from the battle we have some huge upgrades. Tailo evolves into a Swellow, Zubat into Golbat and immediately into Crobat, and then on Route 113 I find a Skarmory. Super underrated mon, awesome design, and it will definitely be a useful member of the team. It's good to have some defensive presence. We then get another team member, Swablu, which when evolved will be incredible, but before Meteor falls, Wingull evolves, and then the Surskit we picked up in the early game can finally evolve into Masquerain. The team is looking incredible already without an Altaria and a couple more encounters, and this is reflected perfectly in the double battle with May. It wasn't very interesting, and surprise, I actually pulled my weight in a double battle for once, which is not something you see very often. And Archie atop the volcano can sometimes be a banana peel on some of these runs, But our team, he stands no chance. Skarmory takes the Intimidate, and then I switch into Ninjask on a Swagger, and then we get hit by Confusion. Wonderful. We then get roared into Pelipper, and I switch into Masquerain for our own Intimidate, and we get Swaggered again. And then he rolls us into Swellow, so I decide to just attack, and Aerial Ace does a third, and we are Swaggered yet again. I risk it, and we hit through Confusion, and we leave it on what must be 1 HP, and they roar us out for some reason into Crobat, and we can KO our next turn. I don't understand this Swagger Roar combo. It's happened to me before. It's just a bit bizarre. Camerupt is out, and half our team is weak to fire, so this could be scary. But a simple switch into Pelipper, and after Amnesia, a Water Pulse does half. Lava Plume does nothing, so we can just KO the next turn with another Water Pulse. Golbat is his final mon, and we get a crit Water Pulse, and then we switch into Skarmory, who is just a defensive tank and can whittle it down for the KO. And speaking of fire weakness, unfortunately there's nothing I can do, and we have to face the fire gym leader. So we just have to full send, so I lead with Pelipper against her Slugma, and a Brine does Oko, which is it's nice. This brings out Torkoal, and another Brine almost KOs, but falls just short, and they set up the sun and get fully healed up. I then got off a couple of air cutters before taking an overheat just above half, and then we whiff an air cutter, but the incoming overheat does little thanks to the stat drops. Then we can just finally take it down, perfectly timed, as the sun fades. She then brings out her final Pokemon, Numel, who gets outsped and destroyed by another Brine. I thought a fire gym would be very difficult, but I'm never going to complain about a deathless battle. And next up is Father himself, and Slacking is a very, very scary Pokemon, but so easy to work around if you rub your 2 brain cells together. I lead Pelipper, and basically I just protect on every attacking turn, so we can easily dispatch of the first one. Vigoroth is out, and I decide to get an Intimidate off with Masquerain as we get hit by a huge boost to Retaliate. I switch again into Skarmory, who walls and can eventually KO after they heal. I decide to stay in for Slacking's first attack turn, and then switch into Pelipper turn after when they are loafing around, and just like the first one, protect every attacking turn, attack every true art turn. Easy, easy dub. But more importantly, once he's defeated, we get the Surf HM from Wally. So not only has Pelipper got an incredible new boost to deal with the fire types, we can crack on with the story. And I totally forgot about this segment, and can you blame me? Heading east from Moorville, we meet Stephen again, who takes us on Latias to a secret island where we need to save Latios from Team Magma. It is such a bizarre scenario, but we deal with them and get Latios and a Mega Bracelet. Like, I'm not complaining, but it was so shoehorned in and forced. Anyway, we press onwards, and on the rainy route we can pick up a Tropius, and did anyone else think this was one of the coolest Pokemon when they were a kid? I have memories of Emerald catching, it's a dragon with bananas on his neck, but it's just such a disappointing mon. And the first of many admin battles, this one in the Weather Institute, was boring to say the least. It is simply a Camerupt, and this time Masquerain just 2-shots it with a Bubble Beam. That's it, that's the battle. And before we can progress further, we are stopped by our rival May yet again for a tough battle. She leads with Shroomish, who is easily dealt with by Skarmory. And when Slugma comes out, I switch into Pelipper, and a rain boosted Surf can easily Oko the fire type. Her starter Marshtomp comes out, and this is scary now as it has Rock Slide, and I stay in to get some chip damage off, but they protect and then we miss, which is great. And after being bought low by Rock Slide, I switch into Skarmory, who can whittle it down. We are bought low, but they are bought lower, and we can KO our rival, and she gives us the Fly HM, which has got to be the best item we can receive on a flying only run. But the next gym is our actual rival to becoming the greatest bird keeper in all the land. It is Winona. She leads with Swellow and I with Ninjask. We get off a double team as we are brought low by an aerial ace, and we can then baton pass into Skarmory, who can KO with a couple of rock tombs. Pelipper is out second, and this is such a long process with Protect, Potions and Roost, and we are bought just 10 HP, so we switch into Crobat, who luckily poisons with their first Poison Fang, and after some more Protects and Roost, we can finally take it down thanks to a combo of Poison and Fly. Skarmory is out, and we know how incredibly tanky this is, so I switch to Pelipper, and a Surf does huge damage, and we can just straight two-shot it, which is insane considering how much a wall this is for us. This does bring out her ace Altaria, the Dragon type as well, and after some chip damage I switch into Crobat and immediately get paralysed, but we break through and hit a huge Poison Fang that poisons yet again. Crobat is so clutch. I switch into Swellow as it's healthy, and my tactic is Fly to negate the damage we take. After Poison brings it low, we can quick attack to KO and claim our badge, but more importantly, claim our title as the greatest bird keeper in Hoenn. We're at that point in the game where the battles come thick and fast, and after dispatching of the other admin atop Mount Pyre, it's time for another battle with May, and honestly, our team is just looking too good. I can't be worried. She leads with Swellow and I with Pelipper, and two Surfs can take it down. She then sends in Cargo, which is a bold decision to say the least, and we can just OHKO with another Surf. Her starter and powerhouse Swampert comes out, and I say in to get some chip damage before taking a big rock slide, so I bring in our Dragon Altaria. Dragon Breath doesn't do too much, and a rock slide almost brings us to half. We do avoid a second, and thankfully that luck means we can KO. This brings out her final Monbreloom, and we can just two-shot with a Dragon Breath. Altaria proving useful already. And like usual, the Magma Grunts prove to be nothing but annoying, and this includes the admin yet again. This is the third admin battle in about an hour's worth of gameplay as well. And 3 for 3, they only have a Camerupt, which just gets one-shot by Pelipper. I assume these are difficult if you do not have a water type, but it's only a Camerupt at the end of the day. And before we can carry on with the story stuff and chase the submarine, it's time to face the 7th gym leader, or gym leaders, Tate and Lisa. I think, is it the only double battle gym? Let me know if I'm incorrect in saying that. But Pelipper makes its case for MVP, as it can simply just two-shot their rock types. Maybe Pelipper is the greatest, or maybe water type with Surf has always been the strategy for Hoenn. We chase Team Magma underwater thanks HMs, meaning we only get to choose from 4 Pokemon, and they have tracked down the legendary Pokemon Groudon. Maxi challenges us to a battle, and this could be scary as he utilises Mega Evolution, but I have a cunning plan. My Tina can do nothing but look on in fear as we set up to +6 with Swords Dance and then one-shot it with a Fury Cutter. We then OHKO the Weezing with a Slash. Crobat gets the same treatment, and this brings out his Camerupt that can promptly Mega Evolve. I then baton pass our boost into Pelipper for some reason instead of just switching, but a Surf can OHKO, meaning that we have bested Team Magma, but as usual, the evil team are sore losers and revive the legendary anyway. But this just makes the weather nice, like it just gives us a heat wave. Maybe global warming is a myth, and maybe Groudon is just chilling. I don't know. That's just a theory. And after dealing with the legendary, we can face down against the final gym leader, Wallace, and I bet you can't guess our strategy. Turn 1, we get off a Swords Dance, but we do get confused, so I risk it, and we do get a second off before being attracted. We then snap out of confusion, but are immobilised by love, and a Water Pulse does little. It is only a love disc. So I take this opportunity to baton pass into Crobat, who gets confused on the switch, but we break through and OHKO with a Poison Fang. Milotic is out, and this is a scary mon. But we break through and Poison Fang does over half, and an Ice Beam hits us, but we take it out the following turn. Wishcash is out and we miss a fly, and a Zen Headbutt brings us low, so we switch into Skarmory, who can eventually take it down. Celio comes out and I stay in with Skarmory, and a Steel Wing does about a third before we get brought deep into the orange and have our attack lowered. I risk it and we bring it below half and get locked into Steel Wing by Encore. Another brings it into the red and we get brought to just 1 HP by an Aurora Beam. I don't know why I risk it, and now I decide to switch into Pelipper while they heal up. Pelipper can whittle it down and get the KO with some air slashers, and this brings out their final mon, Seeking, which is a contender for the most forgettable Pokemon ever, and we get a crit air slash first turn as they set up an Aqua Ring, which puts us on the front foot, and then a couple more later, Pelipper can defeat the Fish, claiming victory and netting us our 8th and final badge. Before travelling through Victory Road, I pick up our final team member, Bagon. This thing looks like a little guy, but when evolved, he turns into a demon. Bagon has always dreamed of flying, to the point where it just jumps off cliffs, and that is a dream we will make come true. Victory Road was nothing to shout about, and neither was the battle against Wally. Ninjask sets up to +6, but a slash does little as Altaria set up with a Cotton Guard. This does not foil our plan, however, as we can just Baton Pass into Shelgon on an Aerial Ace, who can outspeed and KO with a Dragon Claw the next turn. I know what you're saying, it's not a flying type, but I feel like Shelgon has to pass a test to become worthy. One battle to prove to Arceus that it can finally earn its wings and take to the sky, and that battle is this battle. Delcatty comes out and they get OHKO'd with another. Magneton survives one and fires off a Flash Cannon, but we can KO the next turn with a Crunch. Rosalia stands no chance against a Zen Headbutt, and its Mega Garlade may be a cool looking mon. Man, I miss Mega so much. But with the fighting type, it is no longer resist Psychic, so a Zen Headbutt can KO. Shelgon has achieved its dreams and learnt to fly as a beautiful Salamence, but now we are at the Pokemon League. It is time for our dream to become the greatest trainer in all the land, and I decide on our best team, which wasn't particularly difficult if I'm honest, and head into the first room, which belongs to Sydney, the Dark Specialist. His Mightyena intimidates us, so it's only fair to set up with a Swords Dance. We get Swaggered, which is not ideal, and then we get Sucker Punch, but break through Confusion and OHKO. Absol is out and we break through again and OHKO. Next is Shiftry and we go 3 for 3, break through and OHKO. Sharpedo comes out and we break through yet again and OHKO, and his final mon is Cacturn and we snap out of Confusion to OHKO. I want to know what the odds of not getting full confused for 5 full turns are. Ninjask is proving he can sweep on his own. What a result against the first Elite Four. Let's just use that momentum. Second Elite Four is Phoebe, the Ghost Specialist, and she leads with Dusclops, and guess who I lead with? We set up with a Swords Dance, Shock, as they go for a Confuse, where we break through yet again to get up to +4 as they go for a Curse. We then Baton Pass into Crobat, and this is where I cock up. I didn't realise Baton Pass passed on Curse, so although we take it out with a Bite, Curse takes us to about half. When Burnett comes out, I switch into Altaria on a Psychic, and it takes the Future Sight attack. And Moonblast does over half, and they just use Grudge, so we take it out the next turn. Dusknoir is a truly incredible Pokemon, but I still haven't forgiven it for it into Grovyle in Mystery Dungeon. Skarmory tanks an Ice Punch on the switch, and with a flurry of Night Slashers, we burn through both of their full restores, but I do have to switch, so I bring in Salamence, who can finish it off with a single Crunch. Sableye goes down to a Dragon Claw Fly combo, and Burnett goes down to a super effective Crunch. This thing is a beast. Well, now it has its wings, it is. But it is backed to simpler tactics against Glacier. Ninjas can set up to +4 and no more, as the Glalie has priority Ice Shard, so we can Baton Pass into Skarmory, who can OHKO with the Steel Wing. We then OHKO the Frozlass with another. The other Frozlass gets the exact same treatment. Walrein survives one and a Blizzard does huge damage, but they full restore the next turn as another Steel Wing brings it back low, and we can finally take it out with a Night Slash, bringing in her second Glalie, who can go down just like the first with a Steel Wing. Skarmory finally getting its offensive flowers. Drake, the Dragon type specialist, is the final Elite Four, and this is Salamence's time to shine. Ninjask baton passes +6 attack and +3 speed onto our Dragon as it proceeds to sweep every single one with Dragon Claw. I know it is at +6 attack and it is super effective, but it just makes it seem like such a beast when it easily sweeps through like a proper pseudo legendary. Anyway, that's the Elite Four down, and now it is time for the champion. Here it is. It has all been leading to this. Champion Steven stands before us, and his team of Steel and Rock types are scary, and that Mega Metagross is insane. But we have our trusty plan. We of course go for a Swords Dance turn 1 as we proceed to get poisoned by Toxic. The next turn we go for another as they bring us low with Aerial Ace. We then pass our boost onto Altaria, and we then instantly Mega Evolve. Yes, I know, it's not a flying type, but it was when it was sent out, alright? A Flamethrower brings it to Sturdy, and it heals, and we defeat it the next turn. We are bought below half as our Fairy type makes us weak to Steel though. Aggron comes out and a Flamethrower does half, and we avoid an Iron Tail, so an EQ could just KO. Cradily comes out next, and an Earthquake almost KOs, and a super effective Sludge Bomb brings us low. They use another full restore, so we bring it low again with an Earthquake, and then we can just outspeed and KO. The other fossil is out, and an Earthquake brings it into the red as a Metal Claw knocks out our Mega. I'm not going to lie, that wasn't part of the plan. But improvising is where I get the most creative. I bring out Ninjask and they switch into Claydol, but my X-Scissor does big damage and we survive poison damage. My plan was to baton pass the speed boost, but I feel like the KO is too important. So another X-Scissor KOs, but we do fall to toxic damage. I bring out Crobat to finish off the Armaldo, and this brings out his ace Metagross. Not only one of the coolest pseudo legendaries, but an awesome, a scary, powerful Mega Evolution. I go for Bite for chip damage, and hopefully a flinch, but we get OHKO'd by Zen Headbutt. I then realise Skarmory completely walls this thing as a Giga Impact does 45 damage. I go for a Rock Tomb to lower its speed and then bring it to half with a Night Slash while it recharges. It attempts to Giga Impact and misses as we lower its speed again. And now we outspeed, I just go for Night Slashes as they bring us below half, but while they recharge we can get it low and KO the next turn with a Night Slash. That didn't go to plan, but Skarmory bailed us out big time. We defeated Steven, crowning us the new champion of the Hoenn region and answering the question that yes, you can beat Omega Ruby with only flying types. Now there are some basic flying type Pokemon that are just birds, but there are also some really, really cool designs. Ninjask now has my ultimate respect, as well as Skarmory, who won us the run between them, and can't forget about Pelipper as well. I thank every single one of you for watching, and if you enjoyed it, hit that like button and subscribe for more wacky Pokemon challenges. And if you have anything to add or a run to suggest, let me know down below. And with all that said, stay classy and have a wonderful day.